Is this the season to be jolly, or is it a time of a little bit of stress and sadness for you? Now, whether you're feeling down because the year didn't really go the way you planned, or maybe you're just not into the festive season, this is a video for you. Today, I'm going to give you 3 simple, very powerful tips to help you to lift your spirits and leave you feeling a lot more optimistic and energized than you're feeling right now. If you haven't got that much time on your hands, it's only going to take me a short time to deliver this to you. If you haven't got that time spare, then not a problem. I hope you do find that solution. My name is Anthony Charles, and whether you are running a business already or you are thinking of leaving that 9 to 5, I'm here to help you to turn your skills and your ideas into money by growing your impact, your influence, and your income. It's time to be more, it's time to do more, and it's time to have more. And I'm here to guide you every step of the way. So let's get into this. Before I give you the 3 tips, I just want to talk to you about attitude, because your attitude is going to determine your altitude. And when it comes down to feeling a little bit down around this season, I know where you're coming from if that's how you're feeling, because I had a lot of opportunity to feel down. I didn't always enjoy Christmas the way I'm enjoying it now. I grew up as a Jehovah's Witness, so we didn't celebrate Christmas anyway. And by the time I left home and I started to kind of make my own decisions, then all of a sudden I found that I was a little bit detached from family and friends, and I spent a lot of Christmases by myself. So I can remember a time when my mum had emigrated back to the West Indies. My dad was still in the country and he was going through selling the house. I was living in the house with my dad, but because of our work patterns, we didn't see each other for months on end. We didn't see each other because he was asleep when I was up, and vice versa. We just passed each other like ships in the night. And it came down to the December that year. I never forget. My dad went to my aunt for Christmas dinner, and I stayed home, and I had my Christmas dinner. I had corned beef and rice. Now, before you start getting out the little violins, no, that wasn't because I couldn't afford it. That's what I fancied that day. But it wasn't glamorous. I was by myself, and the highlight of my day was eating a meal that I really wanted. I did want the corned beef and rice, and I was watching Russ Abbott, his Christmas special, and I had a whale of a time. I really enjoyed it. And my attitude has always been that. My attitude has always been that I'm going to make it fun for myself. So let me ask you a question. What's bringing you down? What's causing you to feel down? It's really important to know what it is that's bringing you down. And also, what is your attitude about making things better? That's where I want to start with you. Think about what it is bringing you down and what's your attitude about making you feel better, because you're going to win every single battle in life. Every battle, every challenge, you're going to win it in your mind first. And that's why throughout most of my videos, no matter what I'm talking about, I always like to talk about mindset, because that's what's going to happen. You're going to win or lose every battle, every challenge in your mind first. So I want to know what you're thinking. And the results of the questions I've just asked you, that's going to determine what you're going to actually get from the video. And that's going to be determined by your attitude. So that's why I want to know what your attitude is towards making a difference. So let's get into the solutions. Solution number 1 is to practice gratitude on a daily basis. Each day, do this exercise. Write down 3 things that you are grateful for, and do this right the way up until the end of the year. And if it's working for you, then do it beyond the end of the year, because that simple practice of writing down what you're grateful for, it can shift your focus from what's lacking in your life to what's abundant in your life. I want to give you an example. Last week, I wasn't feeling good at all. And I've practiced this gratitude thing so much that it's now running as automatic. So some of the things that I talk about in the videos, of course I find it easier to do because I've been doing it for years. But last week, I wasn't feeling great. And wasn't feeling good, had negative thoughts, and the more the thoughts were bringing me down, I wasn't even trying. All of a sudden, there was that voice in my head, and I just kept thinking about this. Look, mate, you're not sick. You're not sick. But you're not sick. And it wasn't a counter to what I was thinking, because what I was thinking about had nothing to do with health. But for some reason, that's what my mind was choosing to counter. And that's the good thing about it. The exercises that I teach you about the self-talk and being able to interrupt those programs, those thoughts, they will become automatic. So that was my automatic defense kicking in. I just kept saying, you're not sick. You're not sick. And I couldn't think of why I kept thinking that, but I was thinking about some of my friends who are not enjoying the best of health right now. And all my mindset kept saying to me, but look, mate, you're not sick. Just get on with it. And it was my mind saying, look, you got to get on with stuff. I know you're feeling down right now, but you're not sick. The next day, my son was ill and he came home from school half day. And when I saw how poorly he was looking, guess what my mind started saying to me again? I said, see, I told you, you're not sick, mate. Get on with it. That's what was going through my mind. I said, look, imagine you were feeling like him right now. You couldn't get on with it. You got to go now. You got to go now. And that was enough to keep me going. That was my attitude. I've honed those skills over years. But what I want you to do now is to think about what you can be grateful for. I was grateful for health. And I'm grateful for health on a day-to-day basis, because without my health, can't do very much. What is it you can be grateful for? Is it a roof over your head? Is it your health? Is it life itself? Is it something to do with your business? Did you actually start your business plan? Did you do some of your marketing? What is it that you can think of right now that you can say, look, I'm grateful for this. This is something that I've done. It's really important right now to lift your spirits. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm aiming to lift your spirits because it's difficult. I understand that. And when you're feeling low, I call it lower than a snake's belly. When you're feeling like you're on the floor, it ain't a good place. And I want you to think about how you are feeling. And then what I want you to do now is I want you to start thinking about the way you want to feel, because if you think about the way you want to feel, soon you'll start feeling the way you think. Now that's just not clever speak. That's not just something fancy that I've said, oh, let me write it down. Think about the way you feel and then soon you start feeling the way you think. No, it is true. Let me prove it to you. I want you to imagine two things. First thing I want you to imagine now is picking up a lemon. Just picking up a lemon as it is and biting into the lemon. I want you to think about biting into that lemon and chewing and enjoying that lemon. Mate, you have to deal with the bitterness of that skin. On top of that, you're going to have to deal with the sourness. Now, the more you think about, bite that lemon, chew that lemon, what's going through your mind? What's happening in your mouth right now? Is your mouth making saliva? If it is making saliva, then why is that happening? You're not chewing a lemon. You may not even be near a lemon, but you're listening to me. You're thinking about chewing a lemon. Look what's happening. Now, if you're eating, I want you to maybe stop the video, because I'm going to tell you something else that might put you off your food. Every now and then, it's happened to me in my life that I have got a piece of hair in my food. And I'm talking about them long ones. Not the hair in the food. It gets into my mouth. And either I'm emptying the contents of my mouth, or I am going to pull that hair out. And as I start pulling that hair out, I shudder. Even thinking about it now, I'm shuddering. Just thinking about pulling that hair out. I always shudder when it happens. And it's happened, thank God, a few times. If you feel funny for any of those things I've talked about, you're just thinking it. What effect is it having on you? You see how powerful your mind is? So when I say you think about the way you want to feel and soon you start feeling the way you think, look at the exercise. You're feeling the way you think. That's how powerful it is. So when you are going through things, you have to counteract. And I've told you about what happens to me automatically. But how I learned how to do that was by always having the last say. So if I have a negative thought in my mind and it's coming up, I'm always going to use one of my counters. Like if it says, look, you can't do this, I'll say up until this point. Sometimes I just say, of course I can. Yes, I can. And no matter what happens, no matter how many times I get that negative thought in my head, it could be 1,000 times that thought comes into my head, I'm going to say and counteract it 1,001 times. I will always have the last say. Sometimes you want to hear what's going on in my head. The negative thought is there. I'm saying, yeah, I can hear you. Keep on saying it, because I'm going to have the last say. Yeah. I know. That's how you're feeling, but I'm going to have the last say. And I'm just going to have the last say because I'm stubborn like that. And if you get to the point where you say, I'm going to have the last say, see what results are going to happen for you. So I started with this about gratitude because I don't want you to be down. I don't want you to go down, because if you're really down, then, sometimes if you let yourself get too down in the dumps, then you end up doing silly things. Sometimes people in this world, they choose what's called a permanent solution to a permanent solution to a temporary problem. And You know, if that's where you are right now, then you really want to stop this video. If this isn't helping you, if it isn't uplifting you some way and you're still feeling down, then look, I'm in the description box underneath. I am going to put the number to a helpline. This is for the UK. If wherever you're listening to this now, if this isn't helping you and uplifting you in any way, then you want to stop and you want to dial that number, because you need to get the help and the support that you need. I'm not here to trivialize your challenges. I'm here to help you to learn, to change, and to grow. And let me just say, it's okay if you're not feeling that great right now. It's fine. We all get there, but don't let it stop you from moving forward in your life. I want you to share in the comments, what is the step you're going to take today to feel better about your season and the progress that you're making? Share in the comments. Okay, let's get on to solution number 2. And that is connecting with your community. Can you do that in any way? Back in the day when I was spending Christmases by myself, I didn't always hang out by myself. Christmas Day, I was probably by myself, but by Boxing Day or the day after, you know what I used to do? I had about 6 good friends in Hackney, and I would put drinks in my bag, a couple of drinks in my bag, and I would go around to each of my friends. Now, we were young. We were teenagers, about 18, 19, 20. Some of them lived at home, some lived by themselves. What I would do is I'd go around to each of their houses, and I wouldn't invade, I wouldn't go inside. Sometimes we'd sit outside on the wall. We just stand outside and we have a drink. I bought them a drink and we'd have a Christmas drink together. And then we would talk and laugh and joke about the year. And then we would talk about what we're going to do for the future. And then I'd move on to the next one. I tell you, by the time I got to number 5 and 6, I was a bit worse for wear. But I did that on a number of occasions, and it worked well for me. So is there anybody that you could reach out to? And it doesn't have to be people for Christmas cheer. What about a networking event or something where there's a community event? Could you do that? Can you reach out to people? Can you go somewhere where you can listen to something that is going to lift your spirits, to inspire you? Are there any family members that you can reach out to? Even though I wasn't in a position to reach out to all of my family members, there was still 1 or 2 that I could reach out to. And I did. Now that worked for me because I was in the festive spirits. But what if you're not in the festive spirits and you don't want to reach out to people, you don't want to take part in it? Then what about reaching out to your community in a different way? What about volunteering your time? What about helping people who need your help? Helping other people can give you a huge sense of satisfaction, and it can provide a perspective that might boost your attitude of gratitude. Because if you find yourself helping people that are worse off than you, it may make you think differently about the situation that you're in right now. And what about online groups? What about like-minded people in online groups? What about people that can share your situation and give you some positivity or support? One thing I do want to say about online groups and going online when you're not feeling great is to control that social media. And when I say control the social media, what I mean by that is avoid the comparison trap. Because when you go on social media, especially around this time, what you're going to see is people putting up their best. Now, you don't know what they're going through, but they're going to put up their best. And when you do that comparison, what you do a lot of the time is you compare their best to your worst, their strengths to your weaknesses. That's never a good thing. So you need to control that. And just remember, not everything that you see online is true. Not everything that people portray is true. We're not wishing anything bad on anybody, but the reality is sometimes people are putting up the best pictures, and we're not going to go any further on that. It's not as they portray it. Now, if you like this kind of video and the videos where I share my experiences through life and how it determines the decisions that I make and how it affects my life and how it can help you as well, then you know what you got to do? You got to subscribe. Okay, let's get on with it. Solution number 3 is to create a vision for next year. I know you're not feeling so good this year, but hopefully having an attitude of gratitude and doing the other steps. Let's start planning for next year. Create a vision for next year. What you're doing, or what are you going to do to move your business ahead, to move that idea ahead? You know, the thoughts and ideas, the skills that you have, the knowledge that you have. Can you really turn it into money this year? What can you do to put a plan in place? Imagine how you want your next year to look. Let's take the time and imagine for a while. Write down that vision, and not just for your business, but for your personal life as well. What do you want it to look like? Ask yourself those two questions I'm always asking you. If time and money was not a problem, what would you do that you're not doing now? Write down the answers. If you knew you couldn't fail, what would you attempt? Write down the answers. And it's not about putting you under pressure. It's about giving you some hope and giving you some direction. What can you see? What can you envision? What can you imagine for yourself? You see, your mission, if you choose to accept it, is to make those things come true in the next 12 months, the things that are doable. So look, we've got a lot of work to do. So I hope you're ready. Put your work boots on. We've got a lot of work to do. I'm not telling you to go out there and break records. I'm not telling you to go out there and do something spectacular. Well, if you choose to, you can do it. But I want you to get motivated enough to take the next step. And once you take the next step, then I want you to take the next step. And then I want you to take the next step, bit by bit, step by step. And look, and when it comes down to this season next year, this is what I want you to do. Do what I do. When it comes down to this season next year, I want you to plan now to do it on your terms. Plan it from now. How are you going to do it on your terms? What is it going to look like? What are you going to do to make it happen on your terms? Look, if you're ready to be more, to do more, and to have more, and you want to get on that road to turning those ideas that you have and those skills that you have into real money, then you got to download my essential business startup checklist. It's going to give you a clear vision as to where you are right now, and it's going to tell you what you need to do next on your business journey. Click on the link in the description underneath. Look, I hope this was helpful to you. All I'm going to say to you is I hope it's lifted your spirits. I hope you feel a lot more optimistic about going ahead. I've given you some things to do now. All that's left for you to do is to keep on being amazing, because you are. Speak soon. If you want to stick around, then take a look at this video here where I show you how 2 simple questions completely changed my life for the better and how they can change your life as well. Also, click on my head here to subscribe.